in this video I wanted to address the subject of living without regrets. And I don't mean this in the common way that people use it online, because it has sort of become a cliche, living with no regrets. It is a bit cheesy, but I think there is some point to it if you take it in the correct context and use it as you should. I have some notes on my phone once again, which I am going to be looking throughout this video because there is no way I can remember what I want to say. And the first point I want to say actually is addressing the common excuse of I don't have time and I'll do it later, or I don't feel like it. I do understand if you have a job that is very demanding or that is difficult to take some time off, that finding time to go on adventures or to do what you love can be difficult, especially if you have a family and other responsibilities. But I can guarantee you that you can definitely find 5 to 7 days in a year to go on a short adventure. I'm not saying go on a month-long trip, but many times people, if they only have 5 to 7 days, are like, it's not worth it. I only have 5 to 7 days. What am I even gonna see? That is not true. In 5 to 7 days, you can see a lot. You can make some of the best memories of your life, and you can forge some incredible friendships if you do take the trip. And by taking the trip, you might see that you get even more excited to go on more trips, and by that you find a way to alter your lifestyle, to find more time in the future and go on longer trips in the future, because that first trip ignited the fire within you to continue doing what you love. If you just sit around just waiting for things to happen, that fire inside you will never ignite and you will never do what you want to do, and you will always say that you don't have time or you didn't have time, and that's why you didn't do it. Regardless of how many days you have, just go and do it, and I promise you, you will find a way to make more time for it if you really love it and if you really want to do it. If you don't really love it, then you won't find the time, and that's okay, I guess. The trip I took last month to Bulgaria and Greece, I could easily not take it. It was a bit of a last-minute decision. I had to travel most of the distance alone. I was in the ferry alone, a 35-hour ferry ride from Cyprus to Greece. I had to do that alone because my friend Chris was already in Greece. In the vehicle, I was alone, so I've driven the whole of Greece and Bulgaria with Chris, but he was in a different vehicle. I'm not saying these are big hurdles, but to some people there might have been things that they would have stopped them from taking the trip. So go ahead and just do it. Another common thing that stops people from going on such adventures is fear, and I do understand the fear here. You are driving your own car through a different country. Many things could go wrong. The car could break down, you could have an accident, you could get lost, which, let's be honest, it's a bit difficult nowadays to get lost with these things, but in any case, yeah, you could get lost. I suppose there are also other dangers such as animals or even people, depending on where you travel through. But if you prepare, if you plan, and if you start slowly, step by step, you won't have such issues. If you're afraid, don't go on an overland trip through Africa. Go on an overland trip to your nearest country or to your nearest state, to a country that is safe and that you perhaps have been there by plane and not by car. Take it easy, gain some experience, and as the years go by and you become better and better and more confident, you can do bigger and bigger trips. You don't have to rush into the big trips. Just start slow and be better than what you've done yesterday. Compare yourself to yourself and not to what other people are doing. And the more research you do and the more well prepared you are, the less of a chance you have of something going wrong, and probably the more confident you are going to be. Of course, don't overdo it with planning, because that can also bring anxiety. Keep everything at a reasonable level. Budget is also an issue, and for me it is definitely the biggest issue. If I had the budget, I would have been doing bigger trips and more often, so I could also share them with you and share my perspective, which I believe is a bit unique compared to other people. But once again, you do have the budget for even a short trip, so do what your budget allows. Just like I said before, do what your time allows. When it comes to budget, the same thing is true. Use the car you have the budget for, use the gear you have the budget for, and go on the trip and on the length of trip that your budget allows. Personally, even if I had all the money in the world, I would probably still be using an old Land Rover because these are the cars I love, but the trips would have certainly becoming more often and slightly longer. I mean, I did a month in Greece, which was a good time period. You start to get tired after a long time. I feel like I need to work. I feel like I need to do something else rather than just traveling. So in my opinion, from my personal experience, about a month is the limit. From there on, it starts to get a bit old. You take a break and you go back again. I guess when it comes to deciding if you actually want to take a trip or not, and if you want to go through the economical and through all the hurdles of finding the time and arranging the trip, what helps to do is to look a bit further ahead, a few years or even decades down the line. And when you look back to your life, do you think you would have regretted not taking this trip? And if you have a feeling, a longing feeling deep down inside that the answer is yes, then it probably is yes. It is hard to tell, of course, but it most probably is yes. If you don't take the trip, you will most probably regret it. So do as many things as you can, but don't overdo it. Don't feel like you always need to be doing something. But when you have the opportunity to go on a trip, to do something, to create something, in most cases the answer is do it, because if you don't do it, you might actually regret it. And I do believe that the more things you do, the happier you are. I think most of the problems society has nowadays, the psychological issues, stem from not doing enough, sitting around all day. When you just sit around, you just feel worthless. Why are you even here? Everything in this world has a purpose. The animals, the insects, the trees, everything has a purpose. Every day they wake up and they fulfill that purpose. Your purpose can be anything. Just as long as you wake up in the morning and you follow that purpose, you will be a happy man or a happy woman. And it doesn't have to be something big. Your purpose can be your job, your family, or anything else. And I think overlanding and traveling by car is a bit of a reflection to life. The obstacles, the memories, the happy times, the sad times, the difficult days, the easy days. In a sense, it is all a small version of life, traveling by car. And actually, a few videos ago, this is exactly what I talked about. You can check the video after watching this one. So yeah, this is what I wanted to say. Living without regrets is a bit of a cliche, but it's also kind of true. Don't overdo it. Do what you want. Find your passion. Have a reason to wake up every day. That reason could be your car, traveling, or whatever. Just have a reason. Thank you for watching. If you agree, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you on the next one.